So, once again, moderators don't know what the fuck they're doing, but think they're of authority to do anything. Apparently, Moot has decided to change the script slightly on 4chan to auto-refresh, and many people did not like this. Of course, this always happens. Moderators change the website to something inefficient, ineffective, and it just hurts the community, but we're just supposed to accept it, and they figure eventually you will accept it. But meanwhile, they ban every single person they deem a troll or a troublemaker because, oh, they're the problem, but you altering the very fabric of the website is of no consequence. So, what this comes down to is the fact that many people are rightfully angry at Moot for changing something when they're trying to post. Moot does not make the content. Moot does not make the memes. Moot does not make the interesting topics. Moot doesn't do fucking anything. He's a parasite. He parasites off the success and creativity of the rest of the forum. And by extension, he still thinks he's of authority to tell people what they can and cannot say. That is the nature of moderators. They don't do anything, but they want to tell you what you can and can't do. That is what I talk about here. So, rightfully, they're, changing the script themselves to auto-refresh every 1 second so that it fucks with the image board. They're trying to DDoS 4chan, rightfully so. They should have done that a long time ago. And things like that. What gets me isn't so much this little feud between 4chan members and Moot. It's been a long time coming. I'm surprised they didn't do it long before. It's just, Anonymous is awfully silent about this, as they always are. Anonymous is legion. Anonymous does not forgive or forget. Where the fuck is Anonymous when you need them? Where the fuck is Anonymous when they need to attack something that deserves to actually be attacked? They have time for fucking Scientology. They have time for Westboro Baptist Church. They have time for little girls named Jessie Slaughter. But they don't have time for 4chan, which is a very influential website, one of the biggest websites on the web, makes a ton of revenue, and is so corrupt and vicious. They don't have time for that. So, Anonymous is a bunch of pathetic losers who are just nothing but script kiddies, claiming to be hackers on steroids, but will not turn on their overlords. I'll believe Anonymous is real when they attack something like 4chan. When they bite the hand that feeds them, and they attack the very website that created them. When they're willing to attack corruption at its heart, and actually go after websites like 4chan, or Facebook, or MySpace, or whatever, then I will consider them a legitimate force. Until then, they are nothing but losers and script kiddies who don't know what the fuck they're doing either. All these people are just amateur programmers that slept through school and maybe read one textbook, and then all of a sudden they think they're computer wizards. They're technomancers. No, they're just fucking morons that know the bare minimum and think that that gives them the legitimacy to tell you what to do. And it doesn't. It's just that simple. Moot doesn't know the fuck about anything. He doesn't know about programming. He doesn't know how to be a good leader. He doesn't know how to do anything. He's just a useless son of a bitch. He's so useless and so retarded that he actually thought that taking a girl to McDonald's on their first date was at all sane. No, you don't. Maybe to hang out with them and you've been together for a while and you're like, hey, you hungry? Let's get some McDonald's. I'm starving and, I don't feel like going anywhere. So, yeah, that's what you do. But no, the first time you meet a woman or a man, if you're a woman, you don't go to that as a date. That's just kind of cheesy. That's tacky, But he has no social etiquette whatsoever. Now, mind you, I don't expect Moot to have the money to go to some fancy restaurant, even though I'm pretty sure he has the money. I mean, as much money as he makes on fucking 4chan on revenue and shit, people should be robbing him in the street. This guy's probably very, very loaded. The point is that you can do better than that. But Moot doesn't feel like he has to do better for anybody. He's a sociopath. And you know what? So is Anonymous. Anonymous is just a bunch of weak, pathetic sociopaths that idolize Moot. Because if they weren't, why aren't they using their hacker powers for good? Why aren't they using their hacker powers to get rid of assholes like Moot? because they don't fucking care. Evil commends evil, at least this kind of evil. And, of course, Anonymous is gonna nuzzle his testicles like they were a pillow, like a fluffy feather pillow or something. And, I didn't really think about how I was gonna word this. I hadn't scripted it or anything. It just felt like it needed to be said that, I have no respect for anyone that goes to 4chan, or anyone that thinks highly of 4chan, or anyone that considers himself anonymous. You're nobody. You're not a hacker on steroids. You're not the internet hate machine. You're fucking nobody. You couldn't raid anybody even if you tried. You're just a pathetic piece of shit that will always be that way. And until you actually go after some of the injustices in this world, I will never think highly of you. I will always point out that you deserve to be alone, that you deserve to be hated, and you deserve to be anonymous. That's why you're anonymous. That's why you wear the fucking Guy Fawkes mask and prance around. You're not V for Vendetta. The fact is, it's just you as an individual have no meaning. You as an individual are ridiculous and worthless. So you hide behind anonymity. Because, as anonymous, you can claim to be part of this greater force, but you're not even that. Even as this legion, you're still nothing. Let alone if you were an individual having to be bound by consequences and, being held responsible for your individual actions as an individual person. I, as Jim Prophet, face the consequences of my actions because they are delivered as Jim Prophet. Everything I do, everything I say, is relative to the label Jim Prophet. But you seem to think you're immune to all of that because you do it under anonymous. You are not one individual, you are simply a group, an institution. But even so, even with all that combined effort and nobody taking responsibility, you still can't manage to do fucking anything. What does that say about you? So, to this whole scuffle between Moot and the rest of 4chan, this isn't the first time it happened, and it won't be the last time, but Moot will just solve the problem like he always does, pretend there is no problem, just continually ban people, because that's the thing. Oh, moderators bring order and structure, says Geno360, but how much order and structure is on 4chan? How can you justify moderators in a place like 4chan, where there's all kinds of pornography and smut and internet piracy and basically illegal activity? Oh, but moderators are needed there too, when they're the ones condoning that? And by the way, how much can you justify moderators when they're banning people in the hundreds of thousands a day? 4chan doesn't just ban one or two people. That's why I think it's so fucking ignorant when people are, you got banned from 4chan? What did you do? Nothing, stupid. You could get banned from 4chan for just posting. Not even posting. Just have the wrong IP address in a dynamic IP setting, or have fucking Bright House or something, and they'll ban you anyway, because they ban entire internet service providers because one guy pissed them off. They ban IPs that may not even be your actual IP, but they don't want you to use a fake IP, but they want you to post anonymously. Oh, trip bags. They just want attention. But meanwhile, I have to put my real information out there to post to your precious forum. And if I don't, I'll get banned. But if I try to give myself any individuality, I'll get banned too. And if I do this, I'll get banned. And if I do that, I'll get banned. Ban, 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 ban. But that's needed. That's needed for our structure, or else we'll die. No, we could be just fine and dandy without moderators. In fact, we'd be so much better off without these fucking assholes dictating every facet of our lives. We'd be so much better without these pricks just illuminating over our shoulder, poking at us with a large stick, telling us what we can and can't say. We'd be so much better off if we could just have our content and put it out there, and we are held responsible for it individually by either being criticized, despised, or loved for it. We don't need censorship. We don't need people deleting content. We don't need people regulating the content via, limited posts and telling who and who can't post there and things like that. We don't need that. Human beings are capable of defending themselves. Human beings are capable of taking care of themselves. all you need to do is back the fuck off and let the creators and the engineers and the inventors do their fucking thing. When the means of production are disowned by any individual and they are collectivized, from there individuals can reach their maximum potential. That's the thing here. It's that capital is wrong. Leaving all of that up to one or two individuals is wrong. Even if it's a small minority, even if it's 100, 1,000 people, it's still wrong. You cannot have sole ownership. Monarchy was bad. Dictatorships are bad. Oligarchies are bad. Anything that says that some people are no better than other people is bad. And the only reason that I advocate statism at all is because I know that you're not going to get that. Because you're too fucking stupid. You want to be controlled. You want to be subverted. You want to be enslaved. And how am I supposed to react to that? I cannot go my life trying to be ideological about things. I have to be pragmatic. I have to realize that despite how I know right from wrong, you don't. And since you don't know right from wrong, I have to act in accordance to realizing that the vast majority of the world doesn't know right from wrong. And from there, maybe shape the world just a little bit to be leaning a little more to the right than to the wrong. And when everything starts to lean a little more to the right than the wrong, it'll get better. And maybe, just maybe, it won't get worse. But evidence suggests it gets worse. That's why I make these videos. That's why I make these rantings. Because you, as an individual, or even as anonymous collective, have not proven anything to me otherwise to believe that it doesn't get worse. So if you want me to speak positively of you, or of any institution, or just make a positive video in general, at least give me some kind of evidence that things don't get worse. So, see you later.